Holy smokers, this ain't no dang jokers, ladies and gentlemen. We have a market here that is completely flipped. We're going to talk about what's going on here, why this is happening, where things are headed from here, what I'm doing. Look at the moves here today. Elf down over 10%. If you don't know Elf, it's one of the fastest growing, most exciting cosmetics companies in the world. That went down huge here today, 10% downward move. SoFi, one of the most exciting fintech banking companies with incredible growth rates. That one was down 8% here today. Shopify, the e-commerce beast, down almost 8% here today. PayPal down around 8%. AMD stock, which has been red hot, that one fell about 8% here today. Anything housing related got obliterated here today, and these stocks have gotten wrecked day after day, week after week, month after month for years now at this point in time, and they just cannot find a bottom anywhere in sight. Stocks like Robinhood were down big here today, down about 9%. Coinbase down big as well. Don't be surprised if those stocks are down even further, because what I heard, Bitcoin's making another big downward move after the market close. Semiconductor stocks, oh boy, Supermicro down almost 9% here today. Corvo down 7.6%. Qualcomm down over 7%. Cirrus Logic, Cruisy Doozy down over 7% as a company I used to own back in the day. Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM down 6.5%. Skyworks Solutions down over 6% here today, right? And it's interesting in regards to this market because I posted inside my private stock group a message, and this was just back on Monday. I said, market looked really weak back on Monday, and it's looked weak this entire week. The only thing, I think every single trading day this week would have been Red Dead Redemption. The AMD news bailed out the whole stock market for the front half of the week, essentially. That news was so massive and it was so huge for AMD stock, it pushed all the semiconductor stocks, the whole AI trade up, the whole risk on trade up, and that pushed the market to kind of, be green at the beginning of the week. But ultimately, if it wasn't for that news, this market would have been red every single day. This market's gotten incredibly weak, incredibly fast, folks, okay? In this video here today, 3 core subjects I want to cover for you guys. First one up here, why is the market suddenly weak, okay? 2, how bad is this going to get? I think that should be on everybody's mind. How bad is this going to get? 3, what I'm doing, what moves I'm making with my money. We will cover those 3 subjects in depth here today, and I'll let you know exactly every single one of those, okay? I need one thing and one thing only from you guys. If you could please just smash the like button for me, that would mean the world. Just make that thumbs up button glow. And that's all I need from you guys. I hope you appreciate me covering these videos. I wasn't even planning on making a main channel video today. This was not in the works. But, given what happened in the market here today and those stock price moves, I'm like, I got to put out a main channel video today. So I got to work, and here we are, baby. Okay, so I just need you guys to smash that like button. And additionally, if you want to see more of my videos in the future, whether we're in a bull market, bear market, or a kangaroo market, make sure you're subscribed here to the channel, and you get to obviously hear the stocks I'm buying, selling, the moves I'm making, and all this market commentary and where things are headed from here. Pin comment down there today, by the way. I'm going to put my Instagram, my X. If you want to follow me on Instagram or X, if you use those platforms, I'll put those as the pinned comment down there today. I post a lot on X, by the way, okay? A lot of market commentary on there. So, what's going on here? Well, the blame. The first thing is, what's the market going to tell you happened to the market today? The market's going to tell you it's Trump. It's the tariff drama, right? And that was, it's a good excuse to get the stock market to do what the stock market really wanted to do, which was a huge, massive sell-off, right? But obviously, major escalation here in regards to Trump, China, tariffs. It got even worse after hours from what I'm hearing. And so it is what it is. If you want to read through it all in depth, you can read through it all in depth here, right? Now, this also puts in jeopardy, basically Trump and President Xi were supposed to have a meeting, right? I remember hearing about this a couple of weeks ago, and it was either here on the main channel or on the reaction channel, or maybe it was on my private stock group. I record so many videos all the time, it's hard to know which channel I'm posting what on. But I remember, after I heard this news, I remember covering it in a video, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, this might not even happen. I remember hearing about that, and I was like, really? Trump and Xi are going to have a meeting? Okay, and what did I tell you guys? I said, just watch. Don't be surprised if Trump ends up pulling out of this thing, right? And sure enough, he suggests potentially canceling the meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if now, because he escalated to that, President Xi's like, you know what? Yeah, we're not having the meeting. The meeting's off. I wouldn't be surprised at all, right? So this is that game that's being played. People thought, when they heard that news, oh my gosh, U.S. and China are going to be best friends again. I'm like, really? Okay, I don't know about that, right? Now, this whole tariff situation matters significantly. There's still a lot of Americans that don't understand when they hear Trump's rhetoric in regards to tariffs. he makes it sound like China's paying for the tariffs, right? Listen, and I hope every single person watching this video understands, China is not paying the tariff, okay? The importing company pays a tariff. So if you're a business owner and you get some product or whatever made in China and you import it into the United States, you're the one that's going to have to pay that tariff, okay? So it lowers business profits in the short term. And that is up until those companies can then pass on that cost to the consumer. The consumer pays in the end, right? So the initial one to pay, China never pays in this situation. The ones that pay are the business owners, and then eventually they're able to pass that down to the consumer. So I pay for it, you pay for it, we all pay for the tariff in the end. And it's basically just a big tax on you and me, okay? That's what it ends up becoming in the end. And the strategy there's a strategy behind it. The strategy is, hey, if you hit enough companies with it, consumers with it, eventually people will be like, okay, we got to build everything in America, right? We're going to start making the socks in America. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about all that, right? But that whole show, let me be very clear, is a show for you. I tell you guys many times, the stock market is a magician, right? And as a great magician, what do you need to do? You need to get your focus off of places that, let's say, you don't want them to focus on. So, if you're doing something over here, sleight of hand, you need to have them focused over here. And they don't even know what's going on, right? So you get their attention going different places and do this, do that. That's exactly what we have going on right now. And you pull back the curtain, and then you're going to find the two things that are actually causing the market drama. And it's not the tariff drama. That's just the good reason to give out to the media, to give to everybody out there, and everybody say, oh my gosh, stock market's falling because of the tariff stuff, right? But there's actually two much bigger things and much bigger worries at play, okay? The first one on what's actually going on here and what's actually sending the stock market down huge is this. Listen, we're now 10 days into the government shutdown, right? There's a lot of Wall Streeters, countless of these. I couldn't believe it, and I love having that reaction channel because I react to the videos. Remember just, a week or two ago I was reacting to videos, and these Wall Streeters were going on there so confident. Oh, the government's going to figure it out. Oh, it hasn't been an issue in the past. They'll get it solved quick. We probably won't even shut the government down, and if we do shut it down, it'll only be for a few days, and then they'll be right back up and operating. And I was like, I don't know about that. And I said to you guys, I don't think this is going to be solved fast at all. And what did I tell you? I said, Trump's going to be stuck in his ways. The Democrats are going to be stuck in their ways, right? And this is the only shutdown in my 17 years of being in the stock market I've ever taken serious. This is the one. This is the one that if it could go a long time, this is the one. And every single Wall Streeter I could see, they were not taking this serious. It was fascinating to me. I'm like, what are you guys looking at? Like, do you know the positioning of both sides? I don't think they actually knew it. And so they thought they were never going to shut down. And then they thought, oh, if they do shut down, it's going to be solved in the first few days. And here we are 10 days in. This is going to go a lot longer, folks. A lot longer here, okay? Now, here's the deal, okay? Some federal employees received notices Friday telling them that they will be laid off in 60 days. CBS News has confirmed. Several agencies have announced they will cut staff, including the Treasury and Department of Homeland Security. House Speaker Mike Johnson said, we are not in a good mood. As he noted, Friday marks the first day that federal workers will not receive their full paychecks since the shutdown began October 1st. The continued stalemate also makes it highly likely members of the military will miss their next paycheck, expected to arrive on October 15th. Oh boy. Oh boy. Do you know how many people work for the federal government? Do you know how many people are involved in the military and count on those checks coming in? Right? So now we're talking about massive quantities of people out money in regards to this situation, right? If you're wondering how long could something like this go, I think worst case scenario, folks, this could go all the way to 2026. Worst case scenario, okay? The higher probability is the stock market keeps tanking for the next bit of time, and maybe there's a resolution, maybe December or something like that. But I don't know why either side would give in right now. I think the side that will give in the end will be Trump's side. I think Trump will be the one to give in the end because I think the stock market will keep going down, and eventually big money will put the pressure on him to make a move there. But if you're the Dems, I wouldn't make a move here. I would say, we can keep it shut down and, let the economy crash on your head. Who's in office right now? Everybody's going to point to Trump. He's the one at fault, right? Obviously, people that are super on the right are going to say, no, it's the people's left fault. But at the end of the day, I think the majority of folks, and that's what matters in the end, the majority will say it's Trump's fault. That's how it always is. Whoever's in office, they blame him. If it's Biden, they would blame Biden. If it was Obama, they'd blame Obama. If it was Bush, they'd blame Bush, right? No, this is where it starts to matter significantly for money, okay? Check this out. Furloughed workers, okay? Estimates are around 750 to 900,000 non-essential federal employees are furloughed. These individuals are legally barred from working and are not receiving paychecks. I'm not talking about this is 20 people. This is 750 to 900,000 people. Estimates suggest around 700,000 essential or expected employees are required to work, but they're not receiving paychecks either. Imagine having to go to work and you don't even get a paycheck. That's got to be brutal. This group is critical personnel like air traffic controllers, border patrol agents, and some staff at agencies like the State Department. Oh my gosh. Imagine you're an air traffic controller and that's a stressful job as it is. And then you're not even getting a paycheck. You have to hope to get a paycheck in the future. So when the government shutdown ends, these individuals should start getting paychecks, but I've also heard rumors that, Trump might not want to pay some of these people. It's a horrible situation. If you're a federal employee, I couldn't imagine it. That's just brutal, right? The total number of workers not being paid is therefore estimated between 1.5 and 1.6 million federal employees. Oh my gosh. Now, if military starts not getting paid as well, brutal. Brutal. We could be talking about millions upon millions of Americans not getting paid, right? And that's going to create massive problems where? In the economy. You can't have a million people or several million people just not getting paychecks and it doesn't start to actually affect the economy in a very negative way here in the fourth quarter, right? Let's put it very simple. If you didn't get your paycheck today, are you going to the Cheesecake Factory tonight? Of course not. You can't afford to go to a restaurant. Are you kidding me? You're going to be looking for ramen noodles. What are we talking about here? No way, right? So suddenly you don't go to the restaurant, which means, guess what? The staff doesn't make as much in tips, right? All those tips aren't quite collected. The business owner, the restaurant owner doesn't make quite as much money. And it's a whole situation, right? And then those people have less money to go out there and spend in the economy because of this, right? Are you going out there to buy a new pair of shoes this weekend if you haven't received a paycheck? Of course not. I don't know, whatever shoes I got, I'm going to make them work for now because I'm not even getting a paycheck right now. Last thing you're doing is going to the mall and going out shopping right now, right? And once again, this is, if this was 20 people got put out of work in the United States, okay, big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about millions of people are not going to be receiving a paycheck. Imagine this goes a month, 2 months, 3 months. Imagine if this goes all the way to 26 or pushes closer to Christmas. You're going to have a disaster in the economy. There's just no other way around it. That's going to be horrible, brutal numbers for businesses that they start to report. And then businesses start to have to lay off workers. And all of a sudden you got a big unemployment crisis. And then, I think Trump thinks all these federal employees are going to go out there and just go get jobs at private businesses and things like that. Private businesses aren't really hiring that much right now. They don't need more workers right now. This is not that sort of time. 4 years ago was a different situation. Not right now. It's not like Foot Locker is desperate for workers right now, or a Cheesecake Factory, or any of these companies for that matter. And then if you slow down the economy because all these individuals aren't getting work, right, or aren't getting paid, all these federal employees, you think these businesses are going to need any workers? They're going to have way less customers than they usually do. This is not a good situation, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now look at a stock like Lowe's. I heard this yesterday. Lowe's stock has gone down 9 straight trading days. It started going down just before the shutdown. Why is a stock like that going down day after day after day? You got to ask yourself that, right? It's because they view if you got a million or several million people out of work suddenly, not receiving a paycheck, you think they're going to go out and spend a bunch of money this fall to do this or do that to their house? Of course not. Oh, heck no, right? And so even, by the way, was that stock down again today? Yup. 10 straight trading days, Lowe's stock has gone down, right? Who's going to go out there and start fixing up stuff around their house? Be like, oh, let me go paint this room. Let me go do this. Let me go put some new flowers in the front yard. Oh, let me switch my grass. No, not when you're not getting a paycheck. Right? Whirlpool stock all the way down to $71 now. It's a new 5-year low after 5-year low for Whirlpool. If you're not getting your paycheck, you're going to go buy a new washer, dryer, oven right now? Microwave? Oh, heck no, right? That stock is now down 61% the past 5 years. Just an absolutely brutal crash. Look at a stock like RH. That's a high-end furniture maker, right? And even a stock like that continues to show so much weakness, down 54% the past 5 years, down another 6% here today. If this market gets hit pretty decent over this next 2 to 3 months, you're going to see RH break 100. 100, ladies and gentlemen. And this was a stock that was $700 plus at the end of 2021. Unbelievable, these moves, right? There's something screaming recession right now. Screaming at the top of its lungs. And you know what it is? Oil. Oil is screaming that we are in recession right now, or we're about to go into recession, okay? Look at a 3-year chart of oil. Oil all the way down to $57. We're not even in wintertime right now. Imagine, if this economy gets worse, imagine where oil price is going to be in December. If we're at 57 in October and we don't even have a confirmed recession yet, oh boy, oil is screaming from the top of its lungs recession. By the way, remember I told you guys at the beginning of this video, I'm going to have my Instagram and X link down there as pinned comment today. You might want to follow me on X. I posted this on my X page earlier. I said oil price and housing related stocks are screaming recession is here or hitting over the next 6 to 12 months. Only good news is rates should plummet the next 6 to 9 months. Get ready for fireworks. Now, when is this going to be done, this bill? Not short term. Okay, the Senate has adjourned, is not scheduled to return until Tuesday. The House of Representatives remains in recess with no plan to return next week unless the Senate passes the House-approved funding bill. Good luck at doing that, right? And as far as what the Democrats are fighting for in regards to the situation, so from what it looks like here, if the Affordable Care Act, tax credits are basically taken away, what's going to happen is insurance premiums are going to spike ridiculous for like millions of Americans. It's not a small my health insurance is going to go up like $5 a month or like $20 a month or like $10 a month. No. It's massive figures in regards to how much people's health insurance is going to go up. I've seen estimates 20%, 30%, and some even a lot bigger than this, right? My friend and neighbor Graham, he posted this. He said, at what income level, net worth, does it make sense to self-insure? How expensive is the most life-threatening illness or accident if one were to pay outright or in cash? I mean, that could be, many hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars in that sort of situation. So do keep that in mind. But that's a question people are having to ask themselves is it even worth it to get health insurance, right? If these premiums do jump massively. So, Trump doesn't want to let the Democrats get their way. The Democrats don't want to let Trump get their way. And this is going to be an old-fashioned standoff for a while, and we'll see who wins. But, woo-wee, it's not a good situation if you're the one caught in the middle. And who's the one caught in the middle? It's federal employees. But at the end of the day, because it's such a large amount, when we're talking about all the federal employees, and then if the military starts not receiving their checks, it starts affecting us all. Everybody starts getting hit in regards to the situation, right? Now, the crypto market's starting to get really scared of this as well. Ethereum is down 12% here. Bitcoin's down over 8% here, down almost $10,000 today alone, right? It's definitely the market saying, oh boy, we're getting worried about this whole situation, how far south this could go, right? Additionally, you're getting this tells, the signs that the market is saying recession, it's here or it's about to hit, and here's why. If you look at silver, for instance, silver, all-time high, right? 5-year high, highest, I've ever seen that in my lifetime. Like, it's incredible. And, silver is something that usually rallies before you get to a recession. And then gold is something that usually rallies right before you get to a recession. But do keep this in mind. Gold, a lot of people assume once you get the confirmed recession, gold will go up still. No, a lot of times what will happen is gold spikes huge. Before you get the confirmed recession, you start getting the confirmation that a recession's hit, and then gold actually starts going down significantly as well, and then eventually bottoms out and starts heading up again. So do keep that in mind. But listen, man, this is not a natural move for gold. Gold is up 50% this year. 50%? That should not be like that. Gold should be asleep almost always. But if it ever spikes huge like that, A lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, it's because it's basically telling you, hey, recession, 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 right? You're starting to hear news like this. Like while I was prepping this video, I had my phone on Fast Money. Hear this news break: Jefferies Financial, Morgan Stanley asked to pull cash from Jefferies Point Bonita. Just situations like that, and that stock's down big after hours. The scary thing is, the more south you push in regards to a situation like this, the more stuff starts to be discovered, right? No, the second reason why this is happening, why this is going on, okay, listen. We got really rich in regards to where the market was priced, okay? You look at a forward P, we're now down to about a 22.5 in the S&P 500, but we approached, recently close to a 24 number on the forward P. Anytime you really approach, like I backed up over the last 5 years, and guess what happens almost every time you approach that 24-ish number? Very shortly after, you start to get a big market downtrend. We reached right around that 24 level back at the end of 2021. And what happened after that? Obviously, massive bear market, right? We reached that 24-ish level right here, right? And then what did we have shortly after that? We had a big pull down for the market, and then we had the tariff situation drama, right? So here we are in another situation where we hit 24 recently, and don't be surprised if that number goes a lot lower, right? And you get a drama show here. So when valuations push up high enough, the market will eventually find a reason to send the market down. It's never failed. Like literally every single time valuations start to get out of whack, they get too high, the market will always find a reason to go down. Never fails. Always. And so it's just a question of what reason will it use at a particular time, right? And it's always a different reason. But I've never seen it where valuations just continue to go higher and higher and higher, and it kept up. No, eventually it breaks, right? And you get something to happen. Here, it was inflation was out of control, so what they had to do is raise interest rates significantly, and then big tech earnings crashed. So that's why you got that massive downdraft, right? This situation here, or actually this situation here, I think this was around SVB Bank, some of the regional bank problems. This situation here was the tariff drama, right? And then this will be blamed on government shutdown and a bunch of other things that we're going through now at this point in time. But it's natural, and they're going to find always a reason to do it, right? So the next question is, how bad will this get? And I think that's a fair question. And how bad do you think it will get realistically? Do you think this is it? Do you think we got another 5% down, 10%, 20%? Think about that for a moment. I'll tell you how bad it can get, okay? Listen, I've been talking to you guys about everything rhymes this year with 2018. Everything, right? So in 2018, from October 5th, 2018 to December 21st, 2018, I don't think I got exactly the high to low in regards to this matter, but it was roughly around this situation as far as the dates go. But the S&P 500 fell over 16%. In a very short amount of time. Like that's way less than 3 months there. From October 5th to December 21st, that's like 2.5 months basically. And a 2.5 month span, the S&P 500 went down about 16%. It's a huge number. If you think 16% is not a lot, it's massive, okay? Listen, even worse than that. The NASDAQ, you know how much that went down? It went down about 24% over that same amount of time. 24%. You got to understand, if you were to send the NASDAQ down 24% from here, okay, you've got to understand you're going to see stocks down 30, 40, 50, 60% across the board, all over the market. And the reason being is because some of the safer stocks, staple stocks, the super consistent business models will hold up well during the market, so they'll actually outperform. But then a lot of the riskier plays just absolutely get wrecked. And when I say riskier, I'm not even talking about like super big risk. I'm just talking about even stocks like nvidia. Like nvidia shouldn't be seen as a super risky stock, but at the end of the day, if that Q start trending down, like nvidia is going to get slammed, right? And anything that in that relation, I mean, look at a day like today, look at a stock like Shopify, how big that moved down. Like anything that's seen as like risk on, they get slammed in that sort of market, right? So this is just something to kind of keep in mind here. If you're wondering, like we could go down double-digit percentage, right, from these recent highs. It wouldn't be crazy at all. It wouldn't be crazy at all. And the market's perfectly timed as far as 2018 versus now. From what I remember in 2018, that market peaked in that first like week or so, right? And here we are. It looks like we got a recent market peak. So you can't bank on it, right? But the moral of the story is here, this market could easily go down double digits. Everything points to it being possible. The valuations, where they've been trading at, the storylines, it would be nothing to send this NASDAQ down 10 to 20%, right? Keep that in mind. This was old articles that were written in December. This was December 17th, 2018. The stock market is on pace for its worst December since the Great Depression. Stock market is on track for the worst December since the Great Depression, December 18th, 2018, right? It was a whole situation we had. And as far as the market goes, this was just through that particular Monday. So this was like 18 days into the trading month in that December. The Dow and S&P 500 were both down about 8% at that particular time, which is a major, major drop. So, we got a situation here where if you're wondering, could this get to a double-digit percentage? Sure, right? Now, if you're a long-term investor, that's nothing bad for you. You're going to be able to buy great stocks at great prices, right? But there's too many people that think like a downdraft in the market is unrealistic. And I'm like, a 10 to 20% fall for the NASDAQ? Like, that'd be just like ordinary. That wouldn't be crazy at all. 50% to fall for the NASDAQ, that would be a different situation. But a 10, 20%? No. But the problem is a lot of people aren't even mentally prepared for that. Their portfolios aren't prepared for that. They're not mentally prepared for that. I'm like, holy smokes, man, that's where you got the issue, right? But the scariest thing that happened today, for me at least, right? So this morning after wake up, I go to my new house that's getting built right now, right? And we had to do one of those kind of like walk-through dealios and look at a bunch of stuff, blah, 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 right? And this took up my whole morning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's so much market drama and like I'm doing this freaking house stuff right now. But it was what it was, right? But the scariest thing that happened today is after I got done that, I got home, it was a little before noon. And I was like, I want to turn on Closing Bell. And so I wanted to watch Closing Bell while I was on my computer, my iPad, and getting caught up with everything, right? So I got Closing Bell on in the background, which is a show on CNBC, right? And I was also thinking about making a reaction channel video today because that was what I was planning on doing. But since the market went so south, I was like, let me do a main channel video, right? But I got this on in the background, and it was scary what I heard. It was downright scary. I'm listening to Wall Streeter go on there and basically be like, it's not a big deal what's going on today, buy the dip opportunity. We're going to be going right back up. Nothing I'm concerned about here. Trump's going to do this. Trump's going to do that. Trump's going to taco, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dang, man, like, this is scary to me. Because I was just like, they're not taking anything serious right now. Like, there's no cautiousness in their voices, these Wall Streeters. There's no bearishness. It's just, not a big deal. Buy the dip. No, we're fine. We're good, right? And I'm just like, oof, that scares me. That scares me a lot. Because that means these Wall Streeters aren't even mentally prepared for if this market keeps going down here. If they're just out there, just keep buying the dip. There's nothing going on. Whoo, boy, right? And we know these Wall Streeters, all they really care about is the short term. So they're really focused on the next 3, 6, 9 months. But could it be, if you're a Wall Streeter, you're trying to play catch up to the market, you probably maybe got leveraged into the market, you probably invested way too heavy. Now you're seeing the market go down and you're like, got a bias to think like, no, this isn't real. Like this is just a one-day thing or a few-day thing. We're going to go right back up, right? Would you not have a bias there, right? Like these Wall Streeters, they got to make those year-end bonuses. You have an incentive for this market to go higher. You want this market to go higher because you're financially incentivized by this market going higher short term, right? So you're going to go on there and be, everything's fine, buy the dip. Yeah, we're going right back up. And there's nothing, nothing to be concerned about here. I'm not concerned. And I'm just like, whoo-wee. When the Wall Streeters start like that freaks me out, man. Another thing that freaks me out bad that I looked at here today is, guess what? The AI investor sentiment, right? They've been doing that sentiment survey all the way since like the 1980s. You seen the latest data on that? The latest data is overwhelmingly bullish. We basically this entire year, the AI investor sentiment was overwhelmingly bearish. Overwhelmingly, like the entire year until like the last 4 weeks. And then the last 4 weeks have been overwhelming bullish. And I'm just like, they got the timing wrong again. I'm like, what are they looking at? Like you've had so long to be bullish on this market. And there's been so much money to be made the last 3 years. And it's like, now you turn bullish? Now? We actually got like big problems now. Like we've just been playing around the last 3 years. Now we actually got real problems here. And I'm like, whew, okay, that's interesting. I mean, we got a situation where tariffs could actually start to hit inflation numbers big next year, right? We got a situation where tariffs could be overruled by the Supreme Court in the next few months, and who knows what that's going to mean, right? Because there's a ton of ramifications on what that situation would be like, and if that's going to be appealed, that's a whole situation there. If it actually the Supreme Court says, you know what, Trump, you can't actually do all these crazy tariffs you've been doing. What are we looking at there, right? You got the government shut down. You got a million or several million people now out of work, not getting paychecks, and we don't know when the end is in sight for that. What if this goes on like another month? Let's not even talk about it goes till 2026. What if it just goes on another month? What does that mean for people's mortgages? What does that mean for people's auto loans? You know, a lot of these federal employees live paycheck to paycheck. And let's say that, you know, they need money. What are they going to do? They're going to get the money wherever they can get the money. Are they going to be able to sell their house right now? No. And they're probably locked in if they do have a house at like a 3% mortgage. So they're not going to magically go be like, okay, let me refinance 6%. So you know what they're going to do? If they got stocks, they're going to sell their stocks. You need money. You know, you think these federal employees are just sitting around with $20,000 in their bank account? No. They should, but they don't. They don't have it just sitting around. You know, they might have a week, enough money to get around for a week or two. But if this thing goes like a month, oh boy. If this thing goes 3 months, nasty, right? And so we got real stuff that people should be cautious on right now in regards to the market. This is not fake stuff. This is real stuff now. And the market got so caught up in the fake stuff, and now it's actually faced with real stuff, and these Wall Streeters are walking around blind with no cane in the middle of a highway. What are they doing? Oh my gosh, man. It never fails. I'm telling you, these Wall Streeters, listen, retail noobs get such a bad rap in the stock market. They always get made fun of. Oh, retail noob investors. Oh, you know, people that are in their first year or two investing. They always get made fun of. Oh, clueless. You know, oh, they're just there to give capital to, you know, Wall Street. You know, they got no clue what they're doing in the market, those sorts of things, right? I'm telling you, 90% of these Wall Streeters are just as bad. But I look at them as worse than the retail noobs, because at least the retail noobs that get in the market and don't know what they're doing, at least those folks, like, they didn't have like all this training and they don't get paid fortunes of money to do this. These Wall Streeters get paid so much money. Many of these people make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Some even make $1 million plus. They got no clue what they're doing. They go bullish at the times they shouldn't be bullish. They go bearish at the times they shouldn't be bearish. When you should be deploying money like a madman in the market, they're all cautious and bearish, telling you why the market's going to continue to go down, why it's bad times. And then the times when you should be taking some profits or maybe be a little more cautious in the market, they're just like full go, like, oh my gosh, you know, we're only going to go up every single day, every single week, What? It's crazy, man. It's like, why were you bearish when the forward P on the S&P 500 was 17? But then the forward P goes to 24 and suddenly you're Mr. Bull? What are we talking about here, man? Crazy. That's what really freaks me out and scares me in regards to this market, right? Because let this market go down a few more percent and watch the Wall Streeters start to turn like that. Watch them start to panic. And the further the market goes down and the longer it does it, do a 2018 to the stock market. By the time you get to Christmas, Wall Streeters are going to be in full-blown panic. It's going to be hard to find somebody and go on CNBC and talk bullish. Maybe Tom Lee will be doing it, but even Tom Lee will be like very like quiet and cautious. You know, like he'll be like, you know, that's what ends up happening. Let us have a 2018 moment for this market the next 2.5 months, and you watch the Wall Streeters all turn cautious and bearish, and you watch no one be bullish. I kind of wish it happens just so I can see it. Because I'm telling you, every one of these Wall Streeters is going to be like, oh, don't buy now. It's a bad time. No, we got all this stuff to be concerned about. Recession, blah, 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 right? Okay, so what am I doing? Well, there's a few things I'm doing and how I'm positioning my portfolio given everything that's going on out there, okay? First up, I am not selling any of my big dog stocks. No. Now, we could easily have a 2018 and all these stocks continue to get hammered and the public count could go down to $3 million. That's very possible. And I'm fine with that. I'm not going to try to play the timing game with my long-term holds. That's just a silly silly game to play. I got a lot of other strategies I use that are much more intelligent than that. But to try to sell out of all your long positions, then create a massive tax. Look at how much I'm up on some of these stocks. I'm up 2,300% on these Palantir shares. I already got so many taxes to pay for Palantir. It's coming out of my ears, okay? Elf, I'm up 1,600% on, right? This is going to be a taxable event of like, what, $121,000 there? Meta, I got $944,000 in Meta. Imagine I sell all my Meta shares. I create a taxable event that the government's going to take a huge portion of this $944,000. Like, I'm not trying to create a taxable event, then trying to worry about when's a perfect time to time back in the market. No. I got strategies that are much more sophisticated and much more intelligent than trying to time in and out of my long positions on companies that I love for the next 5 years. Whenever I build a portfolio, I'm building it for the next several years. I'm not building it for the next several weeks and the next several months. So even if we have a 2018, this portfolio goes down to 3 mil, that's fine. It is what it is. Like, oh, wow. Okay. I mean, heck, the portfolio just back in the April drama went down to 2.5 mil. It went down to $2.5 million. If, the market really got hammered and goes all the way down to 2.5 million, perfectly fine with me. I'm not going to try to time in and out of this game and play that game. Ugh, bad. No, doesn't work out, man. It does not work out. So what else am I doing here? Well, TSLZ. This is something I like a lot. I'm holding this right now. I might buy more. This is basically a 2x inverse against Tesla stock, okay? Tesla has nothing going on for the fundamentals of the company right now. They got hopes about robots. They got hopes about, robo-taxis and those sorts of things. They got nothing going on for the financial of that business model right now. Numbers are bad, horrible. Like, EV sales have been rough and could get rougher considering how many government workers are going to go buy Teslas in the short term, right? How many people in general are going to go buy Teslas? You got tax credits all expiring. Oh my gosh, it's a mess. It's a mess over there. And so, there's nothing going for that company short term. Nothing. And additionally, that stock's rallied huge because we've been in a big risk on market. People think, oh, it's been rallying because Tesla's doing good. No, this is the worst version of Tesla you've seen in probably 6 or 7 years. I've not seen this bad of a fundamentals of a company when it comes to Tesla for 6 or 7 years. As somebody that's tracked this company since they went IPO back in like 2010, 11, and somebody that was a shareholder for years. It's a dumpster fire over there. And so there's lots of hopes that maybe someday they're going to do something, but that ain't today, that ain't tomorrow, that ain't next year. That's like a 2030s game in regards to anything meaningful to Tesla's business model. So they got nothing going on for the business. It's a mess over there, a complete dumpster fire. And the stock has only been hot because we're in a massive risk on market. And what goes up a lot when you're in a risk on market? Tesla stock. Like, it's hard. People can't see like how this works out, but it's like it never fails, right? So what happens if the market gets hit? What happens if we get a 2018? And the market goes down double-digit percentage? Tesla's going to get crushed like a souffle. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? And so that's why I opened up this position here, right? If I don't have anything to worry about as far as the fundamentals of the company, right? And then we know if the market goes risk off, Tesla's getting slammed. And so this is a 2x inverse on that. And I'm already at 15% on that in a pretty short amount of time here, right? And that one I might add more to. We'll see. Palantir is another one. Now, Palantir's got a lot going for the fundamentals of it. So this one I don't like as much as going against Tesla because the fundamentals are actually phenomenal. At Palantir, the numbers are incredible. The growth rates are incredible, right? But PLTZ is another one. At the end of the day, even with the good fundamentals of the company, at the end of the day, like if the stock market goes down big, this one's going down huge. Like, look at the market here today. The S&P 500 was down, 2.5% or a little over 2.5%. Look at how much Palantir was down. Way more than that. And so look at the day gain on just, the S&P 500 being down 2.5% or a little less than 3% today, right? 10%. So now imagine let's say the S&P 500 goes down another 10% from here. Like, oh my gosh, like the gains on this will probably be 40, 50, maybe even 60% by that particular time, right? So yeah, I'm holding these. And by the way, in regards to Palantir, Tesla, these sorts of stocks, watch out for margin calls. If the market starts to go lower here, right, believe me, like you'll start to see margin calls because a lot of people that play margin, whether it's small funds, whether it's individuals and whatnot, right, a lot of the riskier crowd, they love to play stocks like Palantir and Tesla. And so those stocks attract a lot of margin. And if all of a sudden you start to get those stocks to go down in a meaningful way, like why does Tesla all of a sudden sell off 70%? We've seen it before. Why does Palantir all of a sudden sell off 70, 80%? It's not like the management team changed, right? Like look at 2022, perfect example. Tesla sells off 70%. peak to trough roughly in that situation. Palantir sold off I think Palantir sold off 80% or 90%. It was a ridiculous number. I think it was like 80% peak to trough in this situation. The product didn't change. The CEO didn't change. But why did they sell off that heavy, right? Why? Because we were in a risk-off market. And the Qs went down, 35+% peak to trough in that situation. And so that's how you got those stocks down so massively. So don't, just understand, market goes down a lot. Palantir and Tesla are getting wrecked, obliterated. Maybe someday that changes. Maybe those are stable business models, 10, 20 years from now, like a Microsoft or an Apple is. But they're not today. The bottom line is stock market goes down big. Those stocks go down way more dramatic. And you got a 2x leverage against them. You're going to double up or more than that against those stocks, right? So that's what I'm doing but keep in mind, I keep these position sizes small. I know it looks like big. It's like, whoa, $21,000, $16,000, right? And I have some in another portfolio as well. At the end of the day, it's appropriate size positioning given the size of the overall portfolio. I'm not trying to risk the farm on a hedge. I'm trying to cover my bases in case this thing goes ugly. These are going to appreciate greatly. And then, I could be in a situation, this is just in the public account, I have this position, right? So this $37,000, $38,000, this $38,000, if this market really goes south, next thing you know, it's going to be $70,000 or $80,000. I'll sell out of these, take that $75,000 and go buy a bunch of growth stocks that are beaten down at that time. I was just covering my bases, man. Covering my bases in regards to that, right? Now, here's the deal, okay? If we go down double-digit percentages, what am I going to do with my cash? I built quite a bit of cash behind me, okay? If we go down double-digit percentages, that's when my big money starts to come out. I didn't deploy big money in the market today. Oh, heck no. No way. Not today. Not off this move? No. This isn't nearly enough for me to say, okay, get the rocket launcher. No. Send it down 10% plus, and then further than that, and you'll get me to start to deploy heavy in the market. But we need a lot more pain for me to start pulling out the big money. The big money only comes out when there's a lot of pain out there. And we got a lot of pain earlier this year. I put a lot of money into the market, and we've done amazing on that, right? We had a ridiculous amount of pain in 2022, and I felt that pain as well. Oh, that was brutal. And I got so low on cash, it was ridiculous. That was the most low I've been on cash in like the last probably 7 or 8 years in 2022. Dang, did I get low on cash. But that was a once in a generation buying opportunity. Meta under 100? The NASDAQ down 35+%, that almost never happens. That's like once in a generation you get that, right? Last time we'd seen the NASDAQ down as much as it was in that situation, I think it was down 37.8% peak to trough technically in that 2022 drop from the absolute intraday peak to the absolute intraday low. When's the last time you got to see that? You got to go all the way back to not to the tech bubble. You got to go all the way back to the great financial crisis, when the NASDAQ fell over 50%, right? Before that, you got to go all the way back to the tech bubble going kaboom. So you only get that maybe once every 15 years or so. That sort of insane buying opportunity. And so I'm like, I'm going to take that, right? 2018, that 2018 drop when the NASDAQ fell 24% in 2.5 months. Yeah, you better believe I was deploying money left and right. So, the further the market goes down, especially if we hit double-digit down percentages, from the recent highs, that's when I start to say, okay, now we're talking. Now we start getting out the piggy bank, right? And then we start deploying heavy into the market. But stuff like this is little child's play right now, right? Now, additionally, other than that, I do my weekly buys. So I don't care if we're in a bull market, bear market, kangaroo market. I'm going to do my weekly buys every Friday, right? I buy in the public account, which is available in my private stock group. That's the portfolio that, is a massive portfolio, right? I buy every single week in my Patreon. I posted the moves I made here today. I bought 2 stocks in there here today. Both of them are growth stocks. If you want to ever join my Patreon and see the stocks I'm buying and selling each week, that's always linked in the description down there, okay? That's not my private stock group. Don't get it confused. My private stock group is like to teach you everything I have have up here so you can go make hopefully great decisions for yourself, plus get access to 1000xstocks.com and all those things. My Patreon's just like really if you want to see me, what I'm buying and selling each week, essentially, right? And I do have a tier that does have my Become Master of Stock Market course attached to it, my #1 course ever. But yeah, I do my weekly buys there. I did my weekly buys today in my private portfolios as well. And so weekly buys, that's normal stuff. I deploy a certain amount of money every single week. And but as far as the big money, nah, not right now. Not right now, okay? No, there's a lot of drama in the short term. There's going to continue to be a lot of drama. Just understand that. Focus on the long term, though, in this game, right? There's going to be a lot going on here, but the focus needs to be here, making sure you're adding great stocks that you love for the next many years. Not for the next 3 months. The next 3 months is going to be a drama show, I'm telling you. But the next 3 years and the next 5 years, the next 7 years, that's where your main focus has to be in adding great stocks, because whatever ends up happening this next few months, it'll all just be a blip on the radar. And just as what happened earlier this year was, just as 2022 was, just as 2018 was, just as 2020 was, just as 2008 was, just as the tech bubble blow up was, it all just ends up being a blip on the radar long term, okay? Focus long term. Appreciate y'all for joining me. As always, thanks so much for being here. Once again, pin comment down there if you're looking to follow me on X or follow me on Instagram. That will be down there. If you're looking to join my Patreon, access to my private stock group, things like that, that's linked in the description area down there. Much love and have a great day.